Hello, everyone. Welcome to Middle School Speaks. I'm Jayla. Today, we're going to talk about should parents be locked up for their children's crimes under 18?
Hi, I'm Dominic, and I chose this topic because juvenile justice has always piqued my interest.
Hello, I'm Bella, and I chose this topic because juvenile delinquency is something that isn't spoken up about enough.
Now, let's get into it. My first point is that kids make their own decisions and, in the end, are their own person. Isn't that what teachers taught us in second grade?
This is true. Parents have a large influence on their kids' mindset, which means even though that these children are committing these crimes, their parents are influencing them heavily. In many studies, it has been proved that children often copy and take the same traits from their peers.
Good point. My first point is some children don't have a parent or guardian figure to influence them and are still committing crimes just like children with guardian figures or adults and parents.
Totally agree with that.
This may be true, but some children may be in places such as foster homes and are influenced by their friends and all the people around them. One of my points is parents should be able to responsibly control their children. A responsibility that comes with parenting is being able to discipline and take control. If a parent notices a shift in a child's behavior, they should be able to sit down and help understand what's going on with that child instead of letting it go.
While parents should definitely be responsible with their children, that doesn't mean they should go to jail. Maybe they didn't notice that their child had a weapon or was doing these illegal things. If they noticed the problem, it's definitely their fault. But if they had no idea, why should they bear the weight of going to jail for their kid?
I agree. It's the government's partial fault, not full fault. But I think the kids are doing this because in one of the articles that I read that Georgia legislators are rejecting gun safety requirements. So why would it be the parents get locked up if it's not their fault, if it's the government that's doing this? How is that fair whatsoever?
Yeah.
Well, this is true. The government does have a part in this, and it isn't all they're doing. If a parent and adult is able to purchase a weapon and does not properly store it, a child can easily get hold of it, and due to the recklessness of the parent not being able to place it properly.
So do you understand that? It's the government that isn't selling they're not putting in effort to sell things that have storage that is safe for children where children can't get into it.
But if a parent buys a weapon from a store and they don't properly store it at their home or where they live, and the child gets into that, whose fault should that be for not properly storing it?
It should be the government's because they are not selling things that help child safety proof this. Yes, it is the government's fault.
Why?
How many times do I have to explain this? They're not selling safety. Do you get that?
But the parent is allowed to buy whatever they want, so if they give it to their kid, I agree with her, because if they give it
They're
to
not
kid,
giving it to their kid. She's saying, what if a child gets into it on accident? Not like, oh, here you go. Here's a gun.
Yeah.
That's not what they're doing.
But it should be their responsibility to store it and tell their kids about gun safety and how it is bad.
Yeah, but your point was, not all parents have that connection with their kids or have the time to help them, because some people are living in areas where they need a gun, but also are working multiple jobs where they're not going to have time for their kids to have a simple conversation and be like, hey, this is a gun and it could hurt people.
Yeah.
So, I get where both of you are coming, but I feel since, I get it, not all parents have time for just a simple conversation with their kids, it's still not really their parents' fault. They're trying to help their kids sometimes.
My second point kind of was, if kids don't have to go to jail for themselves, then what stops adult from having other people go to jail for them?
Exactly.
Why is it just kids going to jail or not going to jail? Why
Yeah.
not adults? What stops adults?
It does make sense that adults shouldn't go to jail for their kids, but I'm not saying that only parents should go to jail. I believe that both the parents should the parents should go to jail and the children should go to juvenile. Or the parents don't have to go to jail. They should get either charged or, depending on the crime, put in jail.
But I don't see how that's fair, because it's also ruining their lives as well. Parents have their own lives, and think of it, they're already going to go through a hard time knowing that their kid did something so bad. Like, what if they like went to school and they like actually shot a lot of people? Like, they already have to live with that and that embarrassment. And now if they do get out, because you don't know like how old they are, and if they get charged for like 50 years, I don't know how long it is, but they might not like get out and they are just in prison forever. And if they do get out, then they have to apply for a job and they'll see on their record that they got put in jail. And not that's also ruining their lives because not everybody will get it.
I think also when they show up in court, because like the kid won't go to the court on their own. When they show up to court, they'd have like massive embarrassment,
Yeah.
which that doesn't cover like everything they did, but it's still a little bit of a punishment is kind of what I'm saying.
Yeah, the embarrassment is like enough of knowing that their child did that.
That does make sense, but again, going on to my next point, many studies show that juvenile delinquents do come from homes where aggression and like things like that are more common. So if a child grows up only knowing like aggression, not growing up in safe neighborhoods and things like that, whose responsibility should it be for teaching those kids, or not even teaching them, like how they act around this child? What does that say about the parent not being able to teach their child responsibility?
Yeah, I get that. But it's kind of like my first point. Children do have their own minds, and once it comes to making their own choices, I think that a lot of the time children think so fast, and it's still their own thoughts. It's still their own mind. And I feel like a lot of the time as a child myself that I don't always act on like what I know. It's what just I think. It's not always, oh, my parents taught me that blah, 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 blah. I think it's just me being like, oh, I think this is something I want to do, or it's peer pressure from friends or other people.
Yeah, it could also be like a mix of what you were taught and just if you were in a moment that's, say, scary, what you think is best.
Yeah, and also like depressive episodes. That's also a lot where school shootings happen. A lot of them have mental illnesses, and a lot of that I think is depression. And kids don't know how to handle that, and they take it out on the people or other people that they didn't know, or people they do know, and they are just not happy with them in that moment because they're not taught how to regulate their emotions. And not knowing how to regulate your emotions is perfectly fine as a child, but also at a certain point you shouldn't take it out like that by taking other people's lives.
Well, I also think if they get like depression really, really young, they might be afraid to go get that help from like an adult or a guidance counselor at school. So they might be afraid to get that help, so they just struggle and keep on struggling. So
Yeah,
then they get these thoughts and think they're good because no one's telling them that they're not.
exactly.
Yeah.
So maybe instead of putting them in jail, like parents in jail, they should give the parents parenting lessons.
Yeah.
And just to show them that they should have done something different, but not just be like, hey, you're going in jail because of how you raised your child.
Yeah.
People grow, and not everybody learns how to parent. So I think that concludes today's episode of Middle School Speaks. See you next time.